everyone, this is Tim, and this video is going to be a little bit of a departure from my norm. So it is what it is. So this is going to be a start of a series that talks about at my table. And now what I mean by that is just preferences and ways I go about doing things. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about power gaming. So at my table, my preference is I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear about it. I will specifically put things in place to keep the power of the characters low. I really don't even see that as a good motivation for a character. Unless you're playing in some political game like a Song of Ice and Fire where you're trying to accumulate political power, or maybe even Vampire the Masquerade where that is like ingrained with the setting and the rules, then I really don't want to hear it. I want to see it. For me, it's more about putting away the real world for a while, sitting down, and having fun with your friends. Now, for your table, that might be different than mine. I tend to be in this weird nebulous place between so if you picture like a game at a gaming store, that's probably like Organized Play, Pathfinder Society, 4th edition, Living Forgotten Realms. That's on one side. And on the other side would probably be the immersive, like Underwood, Wood WWAD sort of, in character all the time, that sort of thing. And I fall somewhere in the middle. And I think that over the last probably year, I've probably drifted more towards that immersive style, but I'm definitely still in the camp where, I think it's okay to, laugh at things, throw out some, out of character chatter from time to time, as long as it's kept to a minimum, those sorts of things. But power gaming, I really don't like it at all. I kind of detest it. I don't want to hear about these things that you're going to try to do, broken combinations of, feat from this book, item from this strange module, try to get under the GM's radar, and I've just seen that sort of stuff ruin games. And another thing with this power gamey, playing out your character to level 20, and those sorts of things, like ultimate builds, and if you want to have the most powerful second level character, these are the things you have to do. These are the stats you have to max out, and min-max your stats. I sort of throw in min-maxing and power gaming together. So what the hell? I'll just throw that in here too. I detest all that stuff. I specifically try to run games where I put out stumbling blocks for these sorts of players. I prefer methods of character generation that throw a spear through the heart of power gaming and min-maxing, basically. I try to make it as hard as possible to even get to that point. Like I've talked about before, I like to have characters roll stats out if we're playing like a D&D type game. If we're playing like Vampire the Masquerade, that's not possible, but I put in other like campaign-specific things, like in Vampire, you can only have a generation that's this low, or you can only have celerity, so many dots in this. The problem areas, the things that people abuse, like resources. Okay, guys, we're gonna have like resources to max. I don't want anybody on a yacht. I don't. That's just too far. I don't want that. So I have a lot of campaign-specific things. Like house rules and other things like that to just sort of just slay that dragon where it's slumbering before it just arises, flaps its wings, and destroys my whole campaign. Because I've seen that happen. I've recently visited my old gaming group that I basically founded. I cobbled people together, internet searches, local areas, all that stuff. And I cobbled this group together, and we played mostly D&D. And after a while, I sort of got burned out on D&D, and I wanted to try other games. And we sort of separated and went our own ways. And then I had my sons, that made it harder. But recently, I was able to go back, and while I wasn't able to play, they offered it. I just really wasn't into that. I just wanted to just get out of my house, get away from my son for a little bit, and just hang out with the guys, because I miss that social interaction. And what I saw kind of stunned me. The group that I had founded and sort of nurtured, and I tried to steer them away from all these bad habits, I wasn't there anymore to keep them going down that path, and they're definitely going down the barely any role playing, tons of out of character chatter, talking loudly when the GM is trying to describe scenes that their characters are even in. It's not even that they're not in the scene; they're in the scene, and there's just it just seemed like a complete lack of respect, like lots of problem areas. And they were talking a lot about well, my stats are this, and crunch 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 this and that, and I didn't really hear much about the characters they were playing, other than like the archetypes they were using, like the classes, or even like the feat combinations, and feat plus skills, and it bothered me. Like it was kind of eye opening. It made me sort of realize that, oh, I guess I have been affected by the YouTube RPG Brigade, and I've sort of gotten more used to the kind of caliber player that I want to have in my game, and it's kind of eye opening. It was a good experience, and while I love those guys, I don't think I can play games with them anymore, and that's kind of unsettling. It kind of bothers me to see that level of min maxing and power gaming going on. It's sort of like I was very excited to go there, and they might even be watching, so we'll see how that goes. But I was just disappointed. I watched a game that I just have no interest in playing. Like, I was there and I enjoyed them as people. I was sort of nostalgic for all the times and campaigns we've had in the past. And I did a lot of the running for those, the times that I shared with them. So, I had my big thumbprint on a lot of the campaigns. So, I think I was able with my, GM power to sort of steer them clear of those, rocky shoals. And now that's where they are. But what I'm trying to say here is that at my table, that kind of stuff just bothers me. It irks me when a player is over talking the GM, when they're just completely ignoring what is actually going on in the game. That just sucks, and it bothered me. I felt bad for the GM because I kept putting myself in his shoes and thinking how pissed off I would be. And I don't know if he's just more laissez-faire than I am as a GM, or maybe I'm just getting old and crotchety in my old-timer ways here. I got a birthday coming up, and I think I'll be 34, so I'm getting a little bit up there. I don't know. I just kept putting myself in his shoes, and it was bothering me. I just kept imagining me trying to run a game with these guys who were definitely having fun, but they just weren't focused. Like I said, I'm somewhere in the middle there. I like being in character. I like games that the rules sort of do their job and then get the hell out of the way. And they're not really playing those sorts of games. They're not really focused. The way they're making their characters is all about the crunch. It's not really about trying to play a different character than they are. I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on everything that bothered me. Maybe it's because I had been away from them for so long that maybe I'm seeing the problems more for what they are. Maybe taking a walk outside the forest, I can turn around and look at it and go, I was right in the middle there. I didn't see it all. Now I have different eyes, and I'm coming back to it. And that made me sort of like sad. I just the fact that I really wasn't enjoying myself. I mean, I was just more of a spectator, so I took that into account. But even that, I couldn't see myself sitting at the table trying to play a game with these guys again. And that was pretty sad. I think that I think they're more on the side of casual gaming than I am. So maybe even that's sort of a misnomer. Like I said, if like casual gaming's here, immersive is here, I'm somewhere in the middle. So it's sort of a journey of self-discovery. And it made me think, too, that we change as players. We change as GMs. And your style that you might have in a group might turn into something else, turn into something that you're not quite expecting. Like I said, I've moved more towards the immersive style, I think. I'm still in the middle, but I definitely, slid over a few notches. So if you're a player in my game, I don't want to hear how you're going to twist and tweak your stats so that, at second level you can do 185 damage in one swing if such and such happens, or you roll a 20 and you do this feat and, you tweak this little knob. That stuff doesn't interest me. It's not entertaining. Things that happen at the table, the consequences of the actions, the choices that your character makes, those are the things that matter to me. How have they changed and evolved since they were that first level peon, or since you made your character up. It's about the interaction of characters. And that's another thing that really just bugged the shit out of me when I was watching this game, is that there wasn't any interaction from character to character. It was all mechanics talk. It was, I'll aid you for this +2, or I'll do this and do that. And it was just all, it just went right over my head. I didn't really even care about it. There was encounters just for the sake of encounters, which, random encounter is one thing, I guess, but there was nothing else. It didn't seem like there was much else to it. And I really think the GM wants more for the game. I still haven't written the email. I'm kind of unsure how to even write it. I don't want to offend anybody. Like I said, if you're part of the Monday group and you're watching this, this is sort of harsh, but I don't know, guys. I don't think I play the same way that you guys do anymore, and I don't know if I can even play in that way anymore. It just bothered me. It really sort of got under my skin. And I was only there 2 hours, and they usually play about 4 hours. And by the end of the 2 hours, I really just wanted to go home. I didn't really want to be there anymore. And again, that's a tough realization to come to. It's like, man, I should be having fun, but I'm not. Fistful of Dice, Matt, just put out a video saying that bad gaming just isn't worth it, basically. No gaming is better than bad gaming. And I've sort of debated about this topic in the past, because, if you live out in the middle of nowhere and you find a group, you're very excited to be able to sit down with your books and your dice and your character sheets and all that stuff and hang out with a bunch of, people and hopefully enjoy yourself. But if you don't enjoy yourself, that's a tough thing, because, I'll put up with some just complete utter crap sometimes just to be in a group. But I think the older I get, the less tolerance I have for that sort of distractions, that sort of the way they play. And that sort of bothers me. But, truth is truth, so. But yeah, I can't stand min-maxers, I can't stand power gamers. I can't stand people that talk in nothing but mechanics talk. I love when players tell me what they want to do, what they want their characters to do. And then I'll figure out or twist the system to give them some sort of chance or a dice roll, or just tell them, yeah, that shit just happens. I think that's what the GM's job should be. Sort of a benevolent dictator. That's just how I think it should be. I know that's going to rub people the wrong way, but again, this is my table. And if I'm having a group and people want to play with me, then, no harm, no foul. I'd love to have a face-to-face group again. Right now I don't. I have my Skype Lamentations of the Flame Princess game that's going on right now, and I really look forward to that. I'll be running that this Saturday. And it just shows me, having great players, good attendance, they're into what you're doing, they're having fun, they're laughing. It's not faked. You can tell that they're having a good time. That stuff is great. So I really like Skype gaming. I've definitely done a 180 on that as well. My first impressions of Skype gaming were not so great, but yeah, in that game, there's no min-maxing. It's rolled stats, so that totally just just kills that right away. And it's more about the characters that came about, and we're going to tell their story every session and see what happens. I don't have an end goal in mind. There's a little bit of plot because I'm using adventures somewhat, but it's also very sandboxy. But again, my table, no min-maxing, no power gaming. Yeah, they're not too worried about what's going to happen, 5 levels from now. And I really appreciate the guys that are playing in that game. So, with one final caveat, if you like power gaming and min-maxing and all that stuff, that's your right. I just don't want that shit at my table. Go somewhere else.